Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Bolt Crew podcast. Dave Pele, Josh Pele, and Mario Heron had trouble with this plane coming back from Indiana, so it's the two of us today. We want to talk about this Charger game right here. Wasn't pretty. Might as well have been one of the ugliest games of the year, and might be, Josh, I think the ugliest game of the year. Disappointing as the team loses 40-17 at home to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A lot to talk about in today's game. Baker Mayfield 4 touchdowns. One of those where we usually don't say it often, but the best quarterback was on the other side. Really, what was on the other side, Josh? The better team was on the other side. What do you say?
The Buccaneers are the better team for sure. It's frustrating as a fan when you watch a team like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that has no secondary whatsoever, and we cannot get the guys the ball because we have no time for Justin Herbert to throw the ball. Isn't that what we said going into this game? The game plan against Justin Herbert has to be blitz the hell out of him so he has nowhere to throw the ball because the guys aren't going to get open, and that's exactly what happened today.
Yeah, here's one of these shows also. We want your comments. When things go this bad and you get embarrassed like this by 23 points at home, want to hear, what do you think? Where do the answers to this? Where does this team go? Because there are 3 regular season games left in the season for the Chargers before the postseason. They take on a very important Denver Bronco team on Thursday night game, which is fine. It's a short week. It should benefit the Chargers a little bit for the fact they get an extra day of practice while the Broncos are going to be traveling. But it's when I say disappointing, like, who are we? You always say, what is the team's identity? I think the Steelers provided a huge answer on how to beat the Chargers in week 3. And I think today was one of those where every team that faces the Chargers are now going to try and stick it to them this way. So you're right. Not only does Justin Herbert not have time to throw, but he's taking a beating, right? I mean, he's the most valuable thing that you have, and he's taking a beating. When we talk about, pointing fingers on where things went wrong and how come they couldn't make adjustments, it always goes down to talent, right? You win games because of your players. We always say you lose game because of your coaching. That's not true. You lose games because of your players as well. When Cam Hart went out, it was kind of like the defense went out as well. It was one of those where we discussed it on Thursday on how important he is to this team and how good he is. But you called it. I was sitting right next to Josh from the game. As soon as he hit his head, Josh goes, "Oh no, I think there might be a concussion there." Sure enough, he's not able to play in the second half. He doesn't, and the team is a disaster in the second half from every angle. And so one of the things we say all the time on this show, what the hell is said at halftime? Like, we know guys go to the bathroom, they meet with their coaches group. If you're a defensive player, you meet with your defensive coaches group. But it seems like the Chargers over the years don't make a lot of adjustments at halftime. We always see piss poor third quarters, and the Buccaneers seem like they might as well have 4 hours to make adjustments because the Buccaneers came out and turned the tables on the Chargers. What was a complete 180 in the game in the second half for the Buccaneers and for the Chargers for what seemed like adjustments they made.
I don't think any adjustments needed to be made on the Buccaneers side from a defensive perspective. It was the most cut and dry game plan ever. Like I just mentioned it. You blitz Justin Herbert. That is the blueprint when you face the LA Chargers. The interior offensive line is non-existent. I'm seeing the comments right here. People are losing their minds, which you should. I mean, Justin Herbert's going to get killed out there. And Mark Sanchez was calling for him to be taken out of the game in the fourth quarter. And I'm thinking the same thing. What are we doing keeping him in there? There's no point. I think it just comes down to talent. This is just a not very talented team. On defense, we have talent. There's guys on the defensive side of the ball that are talented. You expect a lot out of them. On offense, I mean, what the hell do you expect? Honestly, Gus Edwards is nothing out there. He's 8 carries for 23 yards. Granted, there's nowhere really to run the ball. Vidal, nowhere to run the ball. 3 carries, 9 yards. Justin Herbert throws his first interception since week 2 against the Panthers. Ladd McConkey has a couple uncharacteristic drops in there, but how much can you rely on Ladd McConkey? It also seems like him and Cam Hart are just taking time bombs when it comes to an injury.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. Oh, Ladd McConkey's been so good and such a surprise, I think, for most Charger fans to see him drop 2 balls that, wait a second, he just dropped the ball. And then on the next play, does it again. And the play calling was weird, by the way, on those, because you need a first down. It didn't make any sense to say, we're going to call a play, we're going to rely on yards after the catch. And yet they did that a few times in this game where it just didn't make any sense. That's not what the Chargers do. You got to at least get over that first down marker to give your team an opportunity to come through on those. And they were kind of talking about it during the game on TV, saying you look at the success that the Buccaneers had on third down conversions and look what the Chiefs did on third down conversions. Well, that's back-to-back games. That's not a good sign. that goes this way. I saw a comment just fly by it. I'm sorry I didn't get your name on there, but it was the Chargers had trouble putting pressure on Baker Mayfield, and they did. I mean, they did. They were within, a couple of feet of whether it was Joey Bosa who can't get there, even Khalil Mack couldn't get there. One thing about the difference of those two guys, by the way, for me, Joey Bosa is never going to get there, and then he's hardly ever going to make a play. He did cause a fumble today, which turned into a touchdown, was great. But Khalil Mack, at least if he doesn't get there, he doesn't just give up on the play. Joey's like, all right, I'm out. Like, you just got the best 3 seconds out of me, and we're going to wait till the next play before I'm going to give any effort. At least Khalil Mack plays through the whistle. Bosa's just hard to watch. And so whether, he's a guy that's not part of the future, fine. I think there are a lot of guys who aren't part of the future. We've been talking about how excited we were, and this goes for all three of us, and I'm sure many of you. Junior Colson, and man, he gets that Charger uniform on. This is great. We're going to love this pick more than any of them. Dude, he's not NFL ready. He's so undersized, and he's in the wrong place. And, to see him celebrating at the end when he tackled a guy 2 yards down the field after, he gained 2 yards, and your team's losing, and to sit there and stand up and look in the crowd and do your thing, enough. You know who doesn't do that? Levante David doesn't do that on the other side, who should be a Hall of Famer, right? He just goes about his business and does what he's paid to do. It kind of frustrates me how we have no clue of what's happening around us or what the scoreboard is on the behavior of this team.
Yeah, the thing with Junior Colson, man, is just if there was a level between college football and the NFL, that's where Junior Colson would be. He just does not look athletic enough to be out there. He doesn't look big enough to be out there. The amount of plays that he gets washed down on is really unbelievable. There's a few guys on this team that we just got to start calling out. Joey Bosa is a guy that we've been calling out for a long time. I wouldn't be surprised if Joey Bosa retires after this season. He just looks like a shell of himself. He hurts the team constantly with the neutral zone infractions. He's always lining up over the ball, which makes zero sense, right? Because when a receiver or a defensive lineman jump, you got to say, what the hell are you doing? You're looking right at the ball. Why would you move when you're looking right at the ball? Another guy besides Joey Bosa we got to start calling out is Christian Fulton. Christian Fulton hurts this team more than he helps this team. Christian Fulton was a guy at the beginning of the season that we all praised, right? We're like, wow, we got a real steal from the Tennessee Titans. He's pretty awful lately. When Cam Hart doesn't play, that means Christian Fulton gets more opportunities and Jasir Taylor gets more opportunities. So Jasir Taylor is the guy that I really want to talk about right now. Dave and I watched the game together. I don't find any reason why Jasir Taylor should be in the NFL. There's no reason Jasir Taylor should ever play for the Chargers. He never helps the team. He constantly hurts the team. He gives up the first touchdown right of the game to McMillan, and then he knocks the hell out of the punt returner before he even touches the ball. And you say, what does this guy do well? Why is he on the Chargers? We have so many guys on this team that could play over Jasir Taylor. A guy like Tony Jefferson should be playing much more over Jasir Taylor. There has to be somebody on our practice squad or another team's practice squad that should see playing time over Jasir Taylor. To me, you're an unserious team when you put Jasir Taylor on the field. Is that how you look at it too?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's like, was he the last of a guy that you can get to fill in an NFL roster? I mean, when Cam Hart went down, we're like, oh, shoot, here comes Jasir Taylor back in the game. They did not want to put him back in the game. They had to put him back in the game. And he finds a way to hurt this team over and over again. I don't know what to say because this is what Joe Ortiz has found his best way to fill this roster to work with Jim Harbaugh. Look, the defense has made tremendous strides. The offense, obviously, they're huge holes. They're huge holes. We see it every single week when it comes to receiving. When you look at receivers on other NFL teams and you're going, well, there's a threat there. We really don't have a threat. And I think by now, when we look at a team that only has 3 games remaining, a lot of the guys that people used to love, whether it's a Josh Palmer, right? We heard a lot about, man, Josh Palmer. He's guys, he's right there close to a number 1. That's you being a Charger fan. He is not. I mean, he is a guy that will have a hard time finding an NFL job next year. It seems like he's just never a threat. There's so many guys that are never a threat. We already spoke about the interior offensive line. They just aren't a threat to basically the defensive line to give Justin Herbert a chance. So when I'm watching the games that right now, I'm still have the Bills-Lions game on. I'm looking at so many weapons just on the Lions side, and they're getting beat because the Bills have a ton of weapons on their side. There just aren't any threats. What Jim Harbaugh and his staff has done with the roster that they have is much more than what we anticipated. And by the way, Squeezy, I see your comment here. Junior Colson, 6'2", 250, BS. Okay, I'm telling you right now, no way. There's no way he's that size. I guarantee you, Junior Colson is closer to 6'2", 210 to 215. There's no way there's a 5'0" in there. I'm telling you right now, dude. If you put me in an NFL uniform, dude, I'm 6'3", about 230. I would look enormous compared to him. There's no way. He is undersized. I'm telling you, as a guy who has covered this Charger team for 29 years in that locker room, and I know what an NFL body looks like, he is not 250. That is the biggest BS measurements I've ever seen in my life. And to say he'd stick me in the wash, go ahead. Junior, I doubt you could. I doubt you could. And you know what? When you couldn't, you'd be in my driveway celebrating. If that guy's 250, I'd give him my house. That's a lie. Don't believe everything you read. Okay. And his performance isn't showing what they drafted him for. I'm sorry, but man, I was a huge fan of that pick because I loved what Michigan did last year on defense. And as far as him coming to this team right now, he is not NFL ready. He's not NFL ready. I'm sorry. And a lot of these guys that are on this Charger roster, it's a miracle of what they've gotten out of them. They're now 8-6, and yeah, they're going to go to the postseason. If you told me before the season they'd be 8-6, 14 games in, and they're going to the postseason, I'd say I'd take it. But when you lose by 23 at home to any team, let alone the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that come from a horse-ass division, then I'm not okay with it. That does not give me anticipation that things are going to go real well for this team in January, and I'm frustrated by it.
You should be frustrated by it. I like this comment right here by Aaron Baker. Aaron Baker 199 says, guys, where the hell is Asante Samuel Jr.? We need him. That's a great question. Where is Asante Samuel Jr.? He can't get on the field over Jasir Taylor. I thought Asante Samuel Jr. came back from his injury. Does anybody know what's going on with Asante Samuel Jr.? There's no way if he's healthy
with LeBron,
that he's not playing.
Hanging out with LeBron? I have no idea.
I don't know what's going on with Asante Samuel Jr.
Got some question marks. Guys in LA that play sports that you're going, where are these guys? I never thought we'd be in a situation where it's saying we need Asante Samuel Jr., but right now it seems like it could be an upgrade over guys like Jasir Taylor.
Yeah, right here, Sean Bergen says he was on the sideline in street clothes. I must have missed it. I thought he came back from IR. I thought he was healthy and ready to go. Jasir Taylor obviously never deserves to see the field. I have a question for you. As a guy that's been watching Quentin Johnston every game he's played since he's entered the NFL, is there any reason for you to believe ever you would throw a deep pass to him? I think it's gotten to the point where QJ is simply a short pass receiver, right? It's a slant, it's a drag, it's a curl route, but it would never be a post or a fade, right? There's zero hope that he's going to come down with that. He does have 8 touchdowns on the year. I'll give him credit on that. He made a great play for the touchdown, but I have no idea why QJ is ever getting targets deep down the field. And another person, I don't know how you can justify him being on the team next season, would be Josh Palmer. If he cannot get targets with this receiving core, I don't know how he can be on an NFL roster. There's nobody to throw the ball to. We got Stone Smart, we got Ladd McConkey, we got QJ, and we got Josh Palmer. Yet Josh Palmer seems to never get targets.
He can't get open.
Can't get open.
He can't get open. He can't create separation. Look, here's my criticism of QJ today, and you're right. He has 8 touchdowns. Fantastic. Okay, he was the number 1 draft pick for this team a year ago. I can't figure out what he's doing on a football field, meaning that you know when the play, like, give you an example. The play that was called towards the end, I think the last ball that was thrown to him, he was lined up on the left side. There's a drag across the middle. There's nobody that can cover him that can keep up with him. Like, that is a great play call for him. Okay. But if you look at his effort, halfway through it, it wasn't 100%. And then Mark Sanchez says, man, he turned on the gas at the end. There shouldn't be any gas to turn on at the end. He's already breaking past everybody. He's creating separation. That's not one of those plays where you're saying at the end, I'm going to show a little bit more speed to shake the guy last minute. He's already gone past everybody. And that's why that ball was out in front, because he wasn't where he's supposed to be at the right time. The fact he had a dive for that ball means he wasn't giving full effort all the way through. I rewound that play twice to watch it. His 50% of that play when it started was not 100% effort. And then at the end, when he realized there's an opportunity, he couldn't catch up to where he was supposed to be.
Exactly.
Sorry. And if you're Justin Herbert, who seems to be the nicest guy in the world because he never calls anybody out, if that was a bunch of other quarterbacks in this league, you'd see him in his ear. But I don't know why that's acceptable by QJ. I don't know why that's acceptable at all. And Josh, you're right. He should not go further than 15 yards down the field. He's a guy that should learn to read his own defense and learn to sit, to know where he's at. And hopefully he's a yards after the catch guy. If not, he becomes a possession receiver guy. But he's a guy you put a lot of money and time into. And you got to give him the ball and not expect deep passes, because whether his eyes are bouncing when he's running down the field or he just can't catch, I have no idea, but he's worthless when he goes deep.
He can't track a ball, right? I think Keenan
Nope.
Allen would be a great example, and Lam McConkey is a great example of a guy that is going to make their NFL careers out of sitting inside of a zone and catching the intermediate passes. Like Quinn and Johnston can do that, and obviously that's not what you draft a guy in the first freaking round for, is for 15 yards or shorter catches, but that's what we have. So sit inside the zone, use your 6'4" body, create space, and use your long arms to catch the ball, because he cannot track the ball. DJ Chark was supposed to be the guy that's supposed to track the ball down the field, right? DJ Chark makes a catch today, and everybody wants to clap. Hey, DJ Chark played today. Good job. Really? We're really going to congratulate DJ Chark for having a catch today? We're not going to be upset that DJ Chark isn't the guy that's on the field tracking the long passes for Justin Herbert because we have nobody on the team that can do that? I don't understand how you can justify being okay with DJ Chark not being able to be on the field this season. This is interesting, this comment right here from Squeezy. It says, Asante wants a new contract and doesn't want to play on his final year of his rookie contract. How is that possible? How could you be in the locker room with a group of guys and look them in the face and say, I'm not going to get on this field even though I'm healthy? If this is true, by the way, I don't know if this is true, but how could you justify that if you're Asante Samuel Jr.?
You can't. I mean, you can't do it. Not today's. I mean, look what the 49ers had happen to them. They had a player quit in the middle of a game and no one was okay with it. I mean, I can't figure out what Asante Samuel's doing. Again, I always hate to confuse in my mind because as fans, we want to believe the most important thing is the scoreboard and wins. But we understand it's a business. Asante Samuel Jr. has a dad that played in this league a long time. He understands the money part of it. Who knows? Maybe it is about the money. Maybe it is about staying healthy and making sure you're good to go for the next contract. I got news for you, though. If you aren't on the field and you're questioning why you're on the field, other teams want to know why that guy wasn't on the field. It's going to be tough to make the money he's expecting when people said, well, he's about money more than winning, because general managers and owners, it's not about the money. It's about winning games. And what can you do to help this team win? Good luck. Good luck in your future endeavors.
Yeah, let's look at this couple of these comments here. Dave and I wanted to lean on the comments today because our sweet Mario was not on the show, so want to lean on you guys. Alan 199 says worst half of the season, worst game of the season, right? I mean, Dave and I are watching the game thinking, can this please just end? Like, this is just awful. That's what I felt like watching the Steelers game when everybody got hurt, and you're like, just end the game, please. Today I felt the same way.
No, absolutely. So looking at it, just so people want to know where the Chargers stand, what does this loss do? Denver passes them, obviously, in the AFC West standings, okay? So the top teams in the AFC, Casey's, they're there. They're the top seed, 13-1, played a great game against Cleveland today. Buffalo on the road against Detroit, I think, surprised a lot of people. That was a game a lot of people said could be a future Super Bowl matchup. Pittsburgh loses in Philadelphia, really not very competitive. Eagles, man, maybe they are the real deal. So those are your top three right there. So what does it do for the Chargers? Right now, it looks like the Chargers would face, if I'm not mistaken here, it looks like they would face the Texans, Josh.
That's the best team you can
But
hope
no,
for.
hold on. That's wrong. Sorry. It looks like the
Steelers.
Chargers would face the Steelers, okay? Chargers would face the Steelers right now if it ended the way it is. But again, Thursday night becomes extremely important because the Chargers can take care of the Broncos. So, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, the Chargers are now 2-3 inside the AFC West, right? Or 2-2 in the AFC West. They take the Broncos out there. They obviously would win that series. The Chargers would have a chance to move up. And the Steelers are a team I'd rather not go on the road and face in the very first game. You know, that'd be a matchup I wouldn't want.
I wouldn't want the Steelers either at all.
I mean,
we're gonna get to
I think we're all aiming for the Texans. Don't we all want the Chargers facing the Texans and trying to avoid Buffalo and Pittsburgh in the first game?
Texans have the worst defense out of any of the teams that are in playoff contention, right? In the AFC. All the other teams in the AFC have pretty good defenses. Bills' defense isn't great. They give up a ton of points, but they score a ton of points also. The Texans, to me, are a team the Chargers could actually beat. I don't know how confident I feel about the Chargers going to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Weather's going to be an issue on those two places too.
Yeah, that's true. Next one comes from Andrea Kenny, $5. Says, checking in from the game live. Everyone left with 8 minutes left. The play calling and execution was awful. Who's the coach? He was asked, what do you think about your team's execution? He said, I'm all for it. Who's that?
Yeah.
Who's the coach that said that?
Tampa Bay coach, actually. What do you think of that?
I don't know. What do you think about the play calling,
Exactly.
man? I got mixed feelings about the Greg Roman play calling because, well, I will say something about Greg Roman. The running on first down every single time is annoying. Like everybody knows
It's
what's going to
old.
happen. You gain 0 yards, you put your team in a bad situation, and then they blitz 8 guys on second down and third down. And you know what? You punt it, and Buccaneers get the ball again. So yeah, Greg Roman's play calling hasn't been great. They're also the talent on the field is terrible. Besides Justin Herbert, the Chargers' offensive talent has to be bottom 5, 8 in the whole NFL.
Yeah, I'm curious to know if you guys were calling offensive plays, what would you have done different? I just see basically lack of talent. I mean, I don't know what you're going to do. You have a really good quarterback in Justin Herbert. There's not a quarterback ever going to look good if he doesn't have time. I mean, just a little bit of time, but he's one of the best. And then you really don't have everything around him. You don't have, Stone Smart outside of that fumble at the end did a very good job filling in. Like you kind of wonder why wasn't he playing more during the season before the last couple games? But wide receiver wise, one of the weakest in the league. Running back wise, uh, Gus stinks. I mean, he's completely done. I mean, you got to look at major changes that you have to figure out to fix that running game next year. I mean, J.K. Dobbins comes back great, but you might be in the same situation with J.K. next year of saying how long can he stay healthy because he just hasn't. He just never has.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair to J.K. Dobbins either to make him the lead back like a Derrick Henry type where he's carrying the ball 25 times a game. He's just not that type of player.
Yeah.
Injuries, happen too much for him. Next one comes from Sean Bergen. Interesting what you think here. $5 from Sean says, is it just me or was there an effort issue in this game? Goddamn disaster this week. Never would have thought a team playing under Harbaugh would play this way. Does that look like an effort issue? I know you brought up Quentin Johnson not busting his ass, but it'll look like an effort thing today
Not
for you?
from the whole team. Not for the whole team. I kind of think these guys are giving you the best they have, and they just aren't that great. There are plenty of games I've watched where you go effort, and usually you'll see them in the last 3-4 games of the season. I think we saw a lot of them in the NFL today. When you see that many teams that are covering the spread by the margin they are, it shows that the other team's the effort's not there. That's not the way the NFL works, but you're going to see a lot of that. The team that is favored to win not only will cover that spread, they're going to cover it by a lot.
Yep. All right. This one is the one I wanted to get to. Mike G says Sean Payton is doing better with less. Denver is overachieving while we are what was expected. Harbaugh is nothing special for me so far. What do you think about
Oh
that?
wow,
You think Sean
nothing
Payton?
special.
Yeah, and Harbaugh's nothing special, and Sean Payton's overachieving. I got to agree there on the Sean Payton thing. That Denver team isn't stacked, right? But they win a lot of games. Bo Nix has definitely been one of the best rookies in the NFL. For me, I just don't think Harbaugh has a lot to work with, especially on offense. And I know Sean Payton doesn't either, but they are winning.
All right, here's a couple things on this one. If you look at Harbaugh, he's very stoic on camera, right? Harbaugh never flips over his cards of what he's really thinking. Never. I mean, never. A year ago at this time, where was Jim Harbaugh? He was getting ready to go to the college football playoff to take on Alabama. We
Yep.
saw those crazy press conferences, right? When he was getting hit by the media and he'd be asked a direct question and he would answer it completely ridiculous. He'd go in another direction, like not even on the same planet. And could do it over and over again. Like it is really hard for someone to ask you a question and you to completely act like you didn't hear it and answer it a different way. Yet he mastered it. He was not going to throw anybody under the bus. He wasn't going to throw himself under the bus. The talks about him coming to the NFL, I think, were the number one questions that he was so good at diverting. Like that drinking game questions we all used to play in college. That guy would beat all of us. I mean, Harbaugh's outstanding of not hearing what you just said. He'd be the guy at the table sober. All of us would be passed out drunk. But man, he protects his players and he protects his coaches and he sits there on the sideline. I guarantee he doesn't want to be embarrassed. He is fuming with those old man glasses. I mean, it's ridiculous. He's wearing those glasses like Ace in the movie Casino. He looks like Robert De Niro. I mean, dude, your frames don't match your face and your age, but he does not give an S. And so when you're sitting there and you're looking at him and he's stoic, I guarantee you he is showing a different kind of attitude when the cameras aren't around. And it's kind of impressive that he can do it. I think I do a pretty good job with the poker face when I'm coaching. Dude, not as good as him. And I will say this about Denver, because, man, I know none of us are fans of Sean Payton on this show. Sean Payton has a better wide receiver, right? Cortland Sutton. He's better wide receivers than we have. He's a better running back than we have, right? He has a better offensive line than we have.
That's the
But
big
he
one.
doesn't have Okay. He doesn't have a
The
better
offensive line is
quarterback,
the
but he
difference.
does. Yeah, he doesn't have Justin Herbert, but he doesn't have a bad quarterback either. He has a very serviceable quarterback that runs his exact system. That's only going to continue to get better, or should get better. So yeah, if you put Harbaugh on Denver, would they be that much better? Yeah, they would be. But at the same time, I think I would take that Denver roster over the Charger roster. Am I wrong on that? You tell me.
Dude,
Is that just ridiculous?
I would cut off my left arm for an offensive line. That's the big difference with this team. You have no hope in the NFL or any level of football if you can't block for your quarterback, which we can't. The tackles are fine. We actually have really good tackles, but the interior offensive line is nothing. And you have no chance. Out of every team that's going to make the playoffs this year, the Chargers probably are the worst. For sure, the worst roster, right? Every
Yeah.
other team has a better roster than the Chargers. If you were to put Bo Nix on the Chargers, it'd be a top 5 pick again. And if you put Justin Herbert on the Broncos, they'd have an even better record. So, I mean, Justin Herbert's out there playing with nothing. Greg Roman out there is calling plays for nothing. It's just frustrating as a fan, man. Joe Ortiz needs to turn this thing around, and it's not his fault. Something I want to mention that you brought up during the game today, I thought was very interesting because we looked up Jasir Taylor and said, where the hell did this guy come from? Why does he play? Why is he on this team? So I looked it up. 6th-round pick in 2022 out of Wake Forest. And what did you tell me?
Yeah, that's where John Spanos went to college.
That's interesting.
Yep.
Huh. Weren't we told last year from a very respectable source that John Spanos makes a lot of the decisions on this team, especially before Jim Harbaugh came over? He
Yeah.
even mentioned that he thinks the QJ pick was squarely on John Spanos' shoulders. I don't know, man. Something interesting to think about. Next one comes from Matthew Dahl. He says, can this team win a playoff game this year?
It depends who they're matched up against. If they're going to Pittsburgh or going to Buffalo, I don't feel comfortable. If they're going to Houston, I think they have a chance. And one playoff win would be big. You know, to go to the playoffs and not win is devastating, I think, for any organization. I think the difference of the Chargers and a lot of teams, you know, even the teams we're talking about, like if Buffalo loses in their first playoff game, that's devastating for that organization and that fan base. Same for Pittsburgh. Houston thinks they're taking steps forward, so they have to get past, you know, further than what they got last year. Remember, Houston was a surprise team a year ago. Houston was the team where everyone was like, whoa, look at this. We had the first pick in the draft and we had the second pick in the draft, and we have a new head coach, and man, all of a sudden we've made great strides. They did it off a very weak schedule. Guess what? The Chargers have had what's considered a very weak schedule too. So I told you on Thursday, I thought this team could go 4-0. I did not expect today's outcome to see 40-17. 40-17 at home. Wow. I mean, that is a hell of a plane ride back for Tampa.
Yeah, I didn't expect this at all. Next one comes from Victor Correa. It says, 499 said, I love to see Herbert with a bit more emotion out there, get a bit more angry. Also love how real you guys are, contrary to the other Charger podcast.
Yeah, those guys are
Do you
punks.
feel like, I mean, you've mentioned before, you think Justin Herbert, what did you say?
I don't know those guys, dude. I'm sorry. I don't know those guys.
I don't like listening to any podcast where they're going to tell you it's sunshine and rainbows when it's not. So
yeah, seriously, I'm not. What good does it do? I mean, a lot of people I know can sit here right now listening. You guys are too negative. Are we? They lost by 23 at home, but we aren't going to piss on your leg and tell you it's raining either. There's no point in that. I don't believe in unicorns. I'm sorry. I'm not going to sit there and tell you crazy things are going to happen when they aren't. It doesn't make any sense. And the reason this show comes out like this, and then we regret it probably, you know, Tuesday morning of going, it's all emotion. We feel like, you know, we invested 3 hours of our time into today's game, expected a different outcome, and that's why we're upset. I expect you to be upset too. This is unacceptable football for a team that has come this far. What's the saying? We didn't come this far to come this far. There's more to do. There's more to do. There's more
Kim
that's
Kardashian
expected.
said that, right?
I think she did. I think it was
Kim
her and
Kardashian.
Courtney. Genius.
Yeah, one of them. This one comes from Alana Moore. It says $5. Says, I'm usually an optimist, but at this point, I'm not sure about the rest of the season unless there's some drastic Full Metal Jacket type changes. I don't know what you can do differently.
No,
what could you possibly do with this team at this point?
Okay. You guys, Alana, Josh, you guys might think I'm lying to you right now when I say this. I think I'm an optimist too. Like, I literally watch a game, I turn a game on, I think my team's going to win. Otherwise, why would I take my time to watch it? I don't. The only one that frustrates me, where I feel stupid, is when it's the Chiefs, because I've seen the same exact ending all the time. But when I watch a game like this, like I got up this morning going, they're going to win. Otherwise, why would I take my time? There's other things I can do. When you talk about sports teams in Southern California, the weather's great. I mean, I watched that whole game today wearing shorts. Guess what? The weather's good where I could go do stuff. This isn't Buffalo where I have to worry about, do I go shovel the snow out of my driveway now or do I try and get up early and do it tomorrow? That's not how it works. There's stuff to do in this state when the weather's good. So you expect your team to win. And it's Tampa Bay. I mean, it's Tampa Bay. Come on. We should have. It's Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is the quarterback that Cleveland needs. You know, we talk about stupid stuff like DJ Chark, like Josh said, Chark week. It's happening. No, Chark week. Give me a break. The fact that Mark Sanchez was excited that DJ Chark caught a ball is ridiculous. And by the way, I don't know about you guys, but when I watch a game and my team's losing, I hate the announcers. Adam Amin and Mark Sanchez, enough. I never want to hear those two guys ever again in my life. Mark Sanchez acts like he doesn't even know anything about the Charger team, and he lives in Los Angeles. Do some homework. It's embarrassing.
Lazy.
Too. You had a bad game, too. You're lazy, too, Mark. Pete Carroll's right about you.
I'm so glad you brought up DJ Chark because I want to bring up this comment by Cario Cobain. He says, y'all can't say Chark is a miss with literally no chances. Even Laviska, or I can't, yeah, even Laviska got more reps today. Oh, I absolutely can say Chark's a miss. What do they say? The best ability is availability. He hasn't been available. You bring him into play and he hasn't been able to play. I'm sorry that he's been injured, but he's been injured. You got to help the team. If you can't help the team, you're no use for us. I can absolutely say that Chark has been a miss. How could you not say that?
Made $3 million. If you were out Christmas shopping this week doing last minute stuff and DJ Chark walked by you in the mall, would you recognize him? Probably not.
No.
Probably not.
All right, this one comes from Ricardo. It says, hey, guys, what percentage of the blame goes on coaching, bad interior offensive line, and no receivers in this loss? Coaching, I'd put 10% because they can't motivate after the second half. I'd put the receivers at 20%, and then I put 70% on the bad interior offensive line. The play is over before it starts a lot of the times, right? When you see there's 8 guys in the box for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we just look at each other and say, this isn't going to go well, and it never does. So the bad interior offensive line has to be almost all of the blame for these games. I mean, you cannot even move the ball.
That's why you're going to see a guard probably taken in the first round. That's what's going to happen. By the way, Joey Bosa, not to rip on Joey Bosa, but they always look for tells, you know, when you're looking at tape on what teams are going to do. Joey Bosa's job usually is to just rush the quarterback, do whatever you can to get in the backfield. We've discussed this for a while now. Joey Bosa lines up so far outside trying to get an angle that he's never going to get to where he needs to be. I mean, he doesn't run a 4.2 40. He's not going to get there. But when Joey Bosa's decides he's not going to run to the plays for him not to rush the quarterback, he comes all the way in. Like, if you're the quarterback, you just have to figure that out. There's going to be zero pressure from that side on this play because Joey gives a tell of when he's rushing and when he's not rushing. He's way out there when he's rushing, and he's way inside when he's not rushing. It's insane. I would say, Joey, you got to get closer, man. You can't get to where you need to be.
He's lining up on the street, right? Right outside of SoFi Stadium.
He's on the edge of the street. Yes.
Yeah, it's very weird to watch. Next one comes from Kelvin Gaddis, $10. He said, I drove 1,000 miles to Eugene, Oregon for a work trip, was hoping to watch an electric game from Herbert's hometown. Instead, I'm left once again wondering what the hell is wrong with the Chargers in the second half game plan.
Yeah, well, 2 things, Kevin. You got me. It's Kelvin, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Kelvin.
That's pretty good without my glasses. Kelvin, what the hell are you doing driving 1,000 miles for? I mean, that's ridiculous. You understand how far that is? Like, jump on a plane. Why would you do that? That's crazy. That's like driving halfway to Nashville, Tennessee. If you put that on a map, it's like driving to Oklahoma or maybe further. I don't even know why you drive that far. And then the other problem is, I don't know what's
I drove with my football team in high school from San Diego to Oregon. It was awful. It was awful. The worst days of my life. 24 hours. And my coach who had hemorrhoids was saying that was the worst day of his life. Yeah.
Tony Jefferson was on that bus with you?
Tony Jefferson was. Yeah. Somebody on a different high school team offered $80 for his gym shorts. And Tony
is that right?
$80 off of his gym shorts. Yeah.
Jeez. He was doing OnlyFans before OnlyFans.
All right. Next one comes from Jose, $2. It says Jim needs 3 draft years in free agency. I agree. I 100% agree with this comment right here.
Yeah,
I think you need about 3 years as a head coach to bring in your complete team. I think you can flip about 33% of the team in the offseason. I think that's exactly what the Chargers did, right? They brought in about 1/3 of the guys that Ortiz and Harbaugh want, and then you're stuck with about 2/3 of the other guys that were there before. It's the same way in college football, right? You got to give these guys some time to bring in their players that fit their system so they can play under the coach.
that's absolutely right. So the Chargers will have, because I think hopefully they're active in free agency. They're going to have close to $100 million to spend. I mean, that's a lot of money to sit there and chase, whether it's a T. Higgins or whatever else you guys have on your Santa's wish list for this team to be better. They might be able to make a significant jump next year. Honestly, I do believe with the defensive coach and the head coach, I think they have the coaching to fix things. But man, the four big positions, I hate to say it, there's more than that. There's just more. You got to get edge rushers, and I'm sorry, but all three edge rushers might be done. The ones they have, Dupree's done, Bosa's done. I love Mack, but he's not that threat. He hasn't shown it this year. You have three offensive linemen you definitely have to fix, right? You need two guards and a center, and then you need two wide receivers, maybe a tight end. I mean, there's a lot of stuff when we talk about holes. You guys are probably right, 3 years, but I don't want it to be 3 years. I want it to be next year. The old saying, wait till next year. I want it to be next year, Josh. I don't want to keep waiting.
Yeah, I'm ready for the Chargers to make their little playoff run and then just bring in some new players. I don't want to watch this crap anymore. Sean Bergen, $10 says Greg Roman is my 13th reason. Gonna go get frustrations out and drop 100 on the Bucks and Madden. Be right back. I believe that we'll turn it around after a full practice of gassers. Truly love y'all. Do you still think the Chargers can win their remaining 3 games?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I do. I mean, honestly, I do. If they don't win their remaining 3, again, disappointed. I'm disappointed now. I expected more from today. But yeah, the Denver game to me is going to be a huge sign. I mean, here's how the schedule breaks down: it's the Broncos at home. It's your last home game of the year, by the way. Then you go on the road for the Patriots, who look terrible against the Cardinals today, and then the Raiders, and then you're getting ready for the postseason. Yeah, I do. I expect them to win all 3.
Yeah, the next question comes from Blake. Same question. How many games do you expect them to win? I agree
I
with
don't
Dave.
like
I
the way
think
you
3
wrote it,
win.
Blake. Blake, I don't like the way you wrote this question. I mean, god dang, Blake, you gonna hit me while I'm down? And it says, I got it. I said they're going to win their last 4 games. I told you guys I'm an optimist. I thought they were going to win this thing. Were the Chargers favored today, by the way?
Ooh.
Yeah, Chargers were favored to win this game by 3 points. You think Vegas would say they're favored by 3 when they didn't think they're favored by 3? The Chargers did not play up to what they're supposed to be. That was my prediction. Okay. I don't know. I wanted them to win all 4 games. Okay. I also wanted to sleep with Pam Anderson at one point in my life. That's not going to happen either. Okay, so I don't know what to tell you, Blake. They obviously aren't going to win all 4 games. I'm out. You want to kick me again? Throw another $5 in. You can hit me again. I don't need it. Not tonight.
All right, this one comes from Twisted Dame, $2. Says Herbert should have sat. Broncos are going to be rough. Would you have sat Justin Herbert for the whole 4th quarter? When would you have taken him out?
Right when they took him out. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't have taken him out earlier than that. Not a big fan of letting guys in there take a beating, but I would have, right at that situation, I thought if they could have scored a touchdown, and the math shows that maybe they were still in it, but they weren't. I mean, I'm glad he didn't get hurt. What would you have done? I mean, you're a guy who's a quarterback. You're a guy that knows that feeling where, I mean, I've seen Josh play with a finger on his hand that was literally going this way, but yet played the entire game. So what do you do? In your mind, do you ever want to come out, or do you say there's time on the clock? I still want to play.
I'm looking at the score right now. So when the Buccaneers scored the 17 points in the 3rd quarter, I would have probably sat him out for the whole 4th quarter. This team's just not being serious out there. Chargers were outscored, by the way, 27-0 in the 2nd half.
Yeah, I know. I was there. I was watching.
I probably, either would take him out at the beginning of the 4th or exactly when they did. I think it was 6 minutes left when they took Justin Herbert out. You want him to stay in there to compete, but you also don't want to be dumb. I mean, dude, they have 8 guys in the box every play. Take him out of the game. He's going to get the crap beat out of him.
There's a comment on here, by the way. It was in my head too. I was thinking the same damn thing. LA Confidential 1 says, do you see it? It says Tarheeb. Put Tarheeb in.
Yeah,
Tarheeb is still in it. The wide receiver 1. Let me tell you, that dude could play both ways. That guy has great hands. Like he has better hands right now than what Rieger has shown us and what Johnson's
Rager.
shown us. Rager, who cares? Is he on the IR now? I
Yeah,
don't
hurt
care.
finger.
So look, that guy can play. He's an athlete. Travis Hunter's like, that guy's pretty good. I love that kid, by the way. I'm a huge fan. Huge fan. Makes things happen. 4
Yeah, I love
interceptions on the season.
Yeah, he's a beast. Tar Heap still is one of my favorite guys on the team. Final thoughts before we get out of here. I would like to mention that Justin Herbert was hit 10 times and Baker Mayfield was hit 2 times.
Yeah.
The Buccaneers had over 500 yards of total offense. The Chargers, I think, barely had over 200.
It was insane. It was insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Yeah, you know what? I'm a superstitious guy. I'll say this all the time. When things are working, you don't change your whatever is working. You know what I mean? Like even if you wash your hair with a certain shampoo and you're like, I think I'm done with this shampoo. If your team's winning, you don't change shampoo. Same thing with deodorant, anything else. You know what else you don't do? You don't go get a haircut. I don't know why Justin Herbert decided now's a good time to go get a haircut. The hair was working this year. Got a haircut, got blown out, didn't play well, and he threw a pick. Hasn't thrown a pick in forever, right? I mean, crazy. Well, how many? What was it? I got it right here. 357 before he threw a pick, and then they jinxed him. Fox Sports completely jinxed that kid today, showing that stat over and over again about the interceptions. Thanks, Mark Sanchez. I blame it completely on him. But yeah, you don't mess with superstition. Justin Herbert didn't like the haircut move at all. That's my final thought. I'm reaching. I'm grabbing right now for anything. Frustrated. You got anything?
Yep. I got nothing to add. I mean, people here are upset that we think the Chargers can win their next few games. I mean, dude, you're playing the Patriots and the Raiders, 2 of the worst teams in the NFL. This team, the Chargers seems not great, but they're much better than the Raiders and the Patriots. They should definitely beat both those teams.
Exactly.
Neither team has a quarterback close to Justin Herbert. Patriots have nobody to throw the ball to also. I mean, come on now. You should have a little bit more confidence than that.
They don't. Honest to God, if anybody can name 3 Patriots on that roster, at 2 of them past Drake May, I'd give you something, but I'm too upset. Give me
I think
every team, I don't know anyone on that team.
No, a lot of teams get blown out at least once every year. This is the Chargers blowout. This is crazy right here. This comment from Eddie Dale Jr. He said the Chargers are wrong comment by Eddie Dale Jr. Eddie's going crazy with the comments. Here we go. It says the Chargers have been held to 0 points in 11 third quarters of this season. That sounds fake.
I know. No, I would say it's fake, except I've seen every one of them. I'm the guy that's almost had 11 strokes this year because of it. It's insane. I don't know what happens. I used to think Norv Turner used to come out with the worst halftime speeches and the performance. Now I can't believe Jim Harbaugh's guys are so bad at it. It's insane. They completely fall apart in third quarter all the time. This is what they do. It's crazy.
Yeah. I wonder what the spread's going to be for the Broncos. What do you think it's going to be? It's probably out already, but what would you say?
I'm still going to say they're going to favor the Chargers. I'm going to go Chargers 1.5. What do you think? You think they'd go Broncos? I mean, it should be 3 Broncos. Points for being home. Wow.
I'd go -1 Broncos.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
Which way would you go with your bet?
Broncos are the better team right now, 100%. They win games. Chargers just struggle, man. Even in the wins, they don't look great. Quell the Gamer says Broncos -3.5. I think that's going to be too much, but I don't know. I'm curious. I would definitely bet on the Broncos in this next game, though. But the way they've been playing and the way we've been playing, it just seems like we struggle against teams that are close to 500. You know,
I don't think I can make it. If the Broncos win this game on Thursday, and again we'll be doing a live show after that game, like I'll be so frustrated and shocked. I don't even know what to say. Like, I really want the Chargers not only to play great, and it's their last home game. I mean, they're obviously not going to host a playoff game. I want one of those games where little Sean Payton goes up to Jim Harbaugh and goes, "What's your deal? What's your problem?" Like, I want one of those games, where the Chargers completely stick it to the Broncos.
I bet you they don't like each other at all, and not even a little bit.
That's fine. I don't like the Broncos.
I want
one. I want one of those Pete Carroll moments. One of those moments that Jim had in Detroit where like a fight almost broke out. I want one of those. I want us to.
Who do you think has more hate towards the other? Harbaugh towards Peyton or Peyton towards Harbaugh?
I think Jim hates everybody. Okay.
I
I do.
think so
I
too.
think Jim hates everybody, but I also think Sean Payton hates the Chargers because when he was at Fox and he loved living in Los Angeles, I think Sean Payton was hoping they were going to get rid of Staley and bring him in. And the timing didn't work out in that year. So the opening that opened up was the Denver job. But I think Sean Payton really wanted that LA Charger job because it would have kept him where he liked living. Now he's living in Denver. Josh and I were in Denver a few months ago. It sucked. Sorry. Most overrated city I've ever been to, unless the sun goes down and you like to drink. But during the day, there's nothing to do. There's nothing to do in that.
downtown, it was boring. Yeah, we didn't like the downtown.
It's empty as hell. Empty as hell.
It was really boring. Twisted Dame $2 says, so at this point, do we still need only 2 wins? Yes. To just win 2 more games. Just don't make it close. Just win 2 games. You should be fine. Everything will be okay. Beat the Raiders, beat the Broncos, hopefully. Beat the Patriots. I know Drake May's not bad. You should still beat the Patriots.
Yep. I'm with you.
All right.
They're going to win these. Don't listen to me. I have to say they're going to win 4. They're going to win. I'm telling you. I have a good feeling, though. I have a good feeling. Josh does not have a good feeling in this Denver game. We'll see if it changes on Tuesday when we talk about it again.
Yeah, so somebody asked that question. What's your schedule for this week? From Blake. We're going to do our normal show at 1 p.m. Pacific time on Tuesday. Then we're going to do a post-game show on Thursday. And then probably just come back on the following Tuesday. I don't know if we're going to do another show on Sunday. But is there anything else you need to add?
No,
somebody said
Blake,
they want a live show from us.
Okay, Blake, that's not written in stone, by the way, on that schedule. In my mind, I'd say we go because I say we go Tuesday. We do Thursday like we normally do, like a pregame, and then we come back and we do the postgame. And we don't do Sunday.
2 shows on Thursday?
2 on Thursday.
Doesn't Mario have like a job?
Does he? I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
He says he does. I never seen it.
Mario's one of the most unusual guys we know. Yeah, we love having Mario around. At the same time, 3 weeks ago, everything kind of stopped a little bit because Mario's grandmother was really sick, and we were really sad for Mario and his family. And then we find out 2 days ago, Mario's grandmother died 2 weeks ago. He never told anybody. That was weird, but okay, that's Mario.
Why didn't you tell us? I thought we were supposed to be bros.
It's strange behavior. I don't know what to say. Like, we're all concerned. We all have private conversations off there. Best luck to your dad and to his mother and your grandmother, man. Feel really bad for you. Let us know what's going on. 2 weeks later, Mario's like, I got to go back to Indiana. There's a funeral. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, my grandmother passed away over 2 weeks ago. Never told us. Kind of weird.
What the hell? Yeah.
So it makes Mario.
Yeah.
There you go. We'll figure out the schedule. Blake, what?
I say he's one of a kind. We'll figure it out. We'll talk to Mario. I'm not against your idea though. Do a pregame on Thursday and then do a postgame.
Yeah, then cool. we get the 3 shows in, and then we'll take Sunday off, and then hold on, one more. I did yell at Squeezy. I'm sorry. Now I'm starting to get my bearings back, so I'm sorry. What is Squeezy here? Question for you two: Chargers win Super Bowl next season.
We eat glass.
20 pounds of glass. No, I'm not eating glass. Why would I do that? I'm not eating glass. A lot of things I'll do, but I'm not eating glass. Yeah, I'm not doing that. All right.
Yeah, no. All right.
We'll get out of here.
We're rambling.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. Again, that was a fast show. Again, a lot of emotion, of course, at the end of these Sunday games when things don't go our way. So for Mario Heron, who's not here, we'll be back on Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. He would say, guys, make sure you like and you subscribe to the show. Do it for Mario and his grandmother. Please like and subscribe for the show. For Josh Pele, I'm Dave Pele. We'll see you Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Thank you.